you ready to get casual? Grab your favorite adult beverage or combustible plant and join us for our roundtable TTRPG discussion. Oh yeah, it's time for Casual Friday. And now, here are your hosts.
Brakaka, what's up? Welcome back to Casual Friday. I am certainly ready to get casual. I'm Jim, that's Ryan. There's another guy who's with us sometimes, and we think he's supposed to be here today, but we don't know. This is live, anything could happen, so welcome to all of you. But regardless of that other guy attending or not, we have some news items we need to get to out there in the world of the Dungeons and Dragons, and so I think we should go ahead and get to that. What do you say, Ryan?
I'm ready to be upset about things. I'm down with TTRPGs. Yeah, you know me. And I don't know. This might be a rallying cry of an episode.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we're going to start off with something to make you angry. And that is recently that Hasbro CEO Chris Cox said that you should migrate your thinking to view Dungeons & Dragons as a live service. Because we still had not quite gotten the taste of D&D is under-monetized out of our mouths. Which was, I believe, 2 presidents ago. They still had to. You might notice there are certain motifs on this show, Casual Friday. One of those motifs is WotC stepping on rakes. And another one of those motifs is us really wanting them to do well. Us thinking of them as the hometown boy that we just want them to. We want them to do right and succeed. And sometimes they do. Recently, we've had a lot of praise for people like Mackenzie DeArmas, Justice Armand, the new crew, the newest generation. But then the people in charge go and say shit like this. Well, let's get into it. Enough preamble. So Chris Cox said the future of D&D is where it works around a live service model. He said this seems to line up with initiatives at WotC with a seasonal model of themed product releases, and then with D&D Beyond's new drops, which we're going to talk about a little bit more later, as long as you're subscribed. Of course, that all depends on players migrating their thinking, as Cox put it, to look as D&D is something you collect piecemeal without having to wait so long between releases. Though many feel Cox is missing the mark here, it's not that players want a steady stream of releases, that they want something that makes them excited to play D&D. So what does D&D as a live service mean? Where's the... Oh, yeah. Books, Cox said, books will always be an important part of D&D. It will always be like a kind of special totem that you can collect. I have a big bookshelf of D&D books myself, but we see what's happening. Almost everyone who plays D&D uses D&D Beyond. Like a super high percentage uses it. A very high percentage use Foundry, VTT, or Roll20, and so it just makes sense that you should start to migrate your thinking about the way you play to more of a live service where you don't have to wait 18 months for us to build a book. All right, Ryan. I'm opening the gate and letting you out.
There's a lot. One, I feel like I have a fairly high tolerance for the CEO speak bullshit, code switching. Like, that doesn't bother, like, it bothers me, but I get it. This guy has a job to do. And it's make stock price go up, so he has to say all the cool catchphrase jargon. But like, even translating that to like normal human speech is like, you nerds and your pieces of paper, you Luddites holding on to the old ways, the totemic talismans of your forefathers. The future is digital, because everyone who we see on our digital platforms are using our digital platforms. It feels a little bit like survivorship bias. But it also feels like it's rake stepping. It's rake stepping. There was a couple minutes there where like the drop came out. Several people in this audience were excited about it. A couple people at my tables were excited about it because like I do not have a D&D Beyond subscription and haven't had it for some time. I use it sometimes, and I'm usually frustrated when I do. But a lot of my friends and people in this audience are subscribed and got like cool bonus content that they were excited about. And then it became clear that that is now the way. It's not a bonus if it's the way content gets delivered. You be subscribed to a thing, and it's episodic releases, like a Netflix for dungeons, or I'm confused. I don't know who this is for, but it ain't me, babe. I don't want this.
Yeah, I have a D&D Beyond sub, and we're going to talk about the drops. We can actually look at the drops. I haven't really perused them yet, but yeah, we can do that in a little bit. That's coming up in just a few more news items here. Yeah, you're 100% right that he needs to say these things, and then he'll do a podcast circuit with people like us, bigger names than us, but people like us, and where he'll say, tell us what we want to hear. He'll be like, it's all about the book. He'll say something completely different. And I would just say that, if this frightens you, then make sure that you are, you have physical copies. Make sure that you're buying physical copies of your games, because you know what? They're not going to come to your house and take those books. Probably. Very unlikely.
I don't want little nuggets of new stuff. I don't want, that sounds like that's what you give a rat in a cage. I don't like this. I do love, I don't know if the person who wrote this article is responsible for the art that they used in this article, but great job.
Yeah, like this one. This is pretty cool.
The weird Midas curse of a dude throwing up gold coins. Opening with the Lich. I mean, you got to put that Ravenloft art in the middle because it's big and beautiful and it's the hip new thing that's coming out in a couple minutes. But like, I get that I play online every week. I run 2 games. One of them is online. Digital tools, cool, great, up to a point, and then it starts to get in the way. I play at a table in person in a room full of nerds. There's 50, 60 people in there. 3, 4 of those tables are playing D&D. A lot of them are using D&D Beyond for their character. And I have been proselytizing people stop doing that because they keep pulling up weird stuff. We have to stop the game for a second because someone's on 2014 and someone's on 2024. And the 2014 guy pushed that button that said no legacy, but sure enough, it sneaks in. And then somebody else is pulling a spell from some third party because it does big numbers because it's way out of line with everything else at the table. And I can't even be mad at them because they're new. They just showed up. They're in the campaign with my buddy who has all of these books unlocked, which apparently that's also maybe going away. And you're trying to tell a story, curate an experience, build a world, and someone's pulling like Toxic Pickle out of the Rick and Morty expansion set from 12 years ago, and it gets very hard to run this game. And they keep trying to sell players as much stuff as they can, and it's become very clear Dungeon Masters are a part of the old totemic talismans of books and consulting the oracle of actual physical dice, because we'll get an AI to run the game for us, and I can sell you skins for the dice. I don't even have to make a product. I just have to change a couple hex codes in a file somewhere. So I don't know. It's bleak, man. It's bleak.
Yeah, when the company treats Dungeon Masters like a necessary evil that will be remedied in the future, that doesn't feel very good. Does not.
Your
feel
primary
very
customer base is now the choke point of your digital empire.
Mhm.
Whoops, you made a mistake.
So moving on, the Ravenloft Adventures Guide to the new Ravenloft Horrors Within. I was stumbling over the name. Comes out next month. Yeah, that's just about a month and a day away. And we've kind of talked about some of this on the show before. I didn't really want to dwell on this, but I did just want to scroll through this because I think the art in this article is absolutely fantastic. Like here's a rendition of the Ravenloft Castle, I'm assuming. That's Castle Ravenloft, looks like, with a little village of Barovia below.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this art is fantastic. And I don't know what this is, but it's pretty incredible.
I was pumped for this. I am pumped for this. I am probably gonna buy this book. I am currently running Curse of Strahd. We're in the end game. I don't know what's gonna happen. We're in the Amber Temple. Deals are getting made. Jim is currently in a campaign as a player, so no spoilers. But I am looking for maybe what happens next. And I don't know, a book with like a weird in his mouth, or Lord Soth next door. And he's just like, oh, the myths come, and all of a sudden, boom, here's more more creepy content with dope art. Yes, I think I would like that. Don't screw this up for me, Wansy. Come on, guys.
Don't step on the rake.
Just do the good stuff, and you'll make a ton of money. You don't have to turn this into a collectible card game. You already have one of those. It's funding the cool stuff that you used to love doing.
Look at this. Look how, I'm guessing this is probably St. Andrew's Church in Vallaki. Boy, that art's fantastic. If the book is full of that, I will definitely buy it.
That's very good. They're leaning into the Soroka deck. Like they're doing the thing to keep in mind, and the thing I hem and haw about all the time is like, this is a big company. This is different groups of people. Some of those people are making this book, and those aren't the ones that are trying to figure out how to squeeze every penny out of some digital content platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have breaking news. A wolf has just entered the studio. Oh my goodness.
Totally lost track of time. I don't know how that happened. I've been sitting here and just hadn't clicked the button to join.
Well, it's all right. We've spent the first 11 minutes of the show just saying, God, I wish Brad was here. So thanks for being people. Will get ready for us to move on from that. Speaking of moving on from that, the next thing we're going to talk about is that Daggerheart is coming up on its first birthday. Remember Daggerheart? You probably forgot about Daggerheart, didn't you? Because nobody's talked about Daggerheart in 3 or 4 months. Nobody's talked about Daggerheart since Drawsteel came out. That's the truth. But their 1-year anniversary is coming up. So they're doing some events. They're doing some live stream stuff in the Darrington Press YouTube channel. Excuse me. They're releasing it for Alchemy. Also, there's a new one-shot Skycadia Institute. A bunch of events coming up for this. But there is a new Daggerheart book coming out. I'm pretty sure it's next month. I'll have to check. I think it's end of next month is when the new Daggerheart. Don't get your hopes up too far for the new Ravenloft. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We like the current crop of writers there at the Dungeons and the Dragons, so we'll see. I haven't honestly been playing Daggerheart either. I ran it at the games. I ran a couple one shots at the game store, but I was unable to successfully put together a group at the game store. I got 2 people who were permanent maybes. But those one shots were fun, and people had a good time. But it's just everybody's didn't want to break away from their full-time D&D groups to try something new.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the one shot you ran for us. Wasn't a one shot. It was a 4 episode Daggerheart run that we did. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I'm hoping when the new book comes out, it will pull back some people, and there'll be more interest in it then, because I really quite enjoyed Daggerheart. Was it perfect? No, and I'm sure we'll talk about Daggerheart in our upcoming segment on Initiative that we're going to talk about later. But what we've referenced already, I don't know, do you guys have anything else to say about Daggerheart's 1-year anniversary?
I like it. It's dope. The mini 4-episode campaign that we ran was incredible. Thanks in a large part to Jim being an awesome GM. I stand by in my prognostication that it would be better for Daggerheart if Critical Role were running it right now. I understand the decision-making process that got there, and I admit in public on the internet that I was wrong, that they were definitely going to do it. But I still think they should have, even though Brendan Lee Mulligan is awesome. This West Marches thing is very ambitious and cool. There's some cool stuff going on there right now. I think Daggerheart would be doing better. I don't know if Critical Role would be doing better, or let's say worse, if they had switched to Daggerheart. But I think that would have pushed Daggerheart. I don't know if it would have displaced D&D, even Pathfinder per se, but we wouldn't be here. Oh, it's been a year, and we kind of stopped talking about Daggerheart.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, why couldn't they have had just one of the 3 tables run Daggerheart? Maybe the low combat table, if they were worried about all the death rolls, because there's more death in Daggerheart. It is a deadlier game. Maybe they could have just had the schemers table run it. I don't know. That just came out of my brain. I don't know what that means. But so moving on, the next thing that we were referencing the D&D Beyond drops at the beginning of the show. Well, Mr. Christian Hoffer from EN World thinks they're bad. Says they're antithetical to D&D Beyond's traditional subscription model. At the outset, the Drops Compendium seems like an easy way to add value. While the Drops continue the trends of digital exclusive, the content itself seems rather tame. There's no indication that D&D Beyond will add new subclasses or species. However, the implementation of Drops marks a notable shift in how D&D Beyond subscription service works, and it's for the worse. The core reason to subscribe to D&D Beyond is to unlock content sharing between accounts. If one player subscribes to DDB and creates a campaign, the other party members in that campaign can access any content the subscriber has purchased through D&D Beyond. And yeah, I've been a subscriber for a long time, and I've made several campaigns for people that I've never played with, so they could have access to books. You know, just like make a PC. I'll send you this link, join it, and then you can access all the books that I've bought. I've done that more for people I haven't played with than people I have played with.
Oh wow!
Isn't that I've yeah. So do you guys have thoughts on drops here? I actually have. I've never claimed any of it yet, but I have my account, so I thought we could look at some stuff.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the drops thing. I mean, my personal opinion is I kind of hate D&D Beyond. And that's been reinforced by the fact that I've started running 5.5, and it's near impossible to keep the 5e content out of 5.5 with the way D&D Beyond is structured. Because my players wanted to switch back from Shadow Dark to 5.5, and yeah, it's just been a mess trying to get it all to work smoothly.
Okay, so we just saw some drops content there. It was like a 6-page comic that you can get.
Yeah,
like,
they released some. Oh, whoa! Yeah, see, like this is fine. Like, and at first it was they released a bunch of maps, and I was like, okay, cool. They have some content laying around, and they're giving it out. Cool, but it's starting to feel like maybe we're getting into the loot box era, where like one player at your table has Super Duper Fireball because they spend an extra $5.99 a month. And so they do an extra 2d6 damage or something. And like, how the hell am I don't want to play that game.
We're looking at our TED pre-made character sheet.
Love it.
What does Ted get? Yeah, let's see what.
He counts as a halfling bard, huh? That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, all right. What's this species? Features and traits. Species traits, humanoid, small. What is? Oh, it's halfling.
Is it?
Oh,
give me
yeah.
give me spells. Give me spells. What's he packing?
He's looks like he's 3rd level. Charm person, command, disguise self, Tasha's hideous laughter, charm person, invisibility, suggestion.
That's about right.
Yeah, suggestion seems about right. Friends and vicious mockery. So that's an example of a drop.
So it's just fun content, just simple. Like, I don't. What's the complaint in the article then that this is watering down?
So a big part of the content is that because of something like this, because this is an actual D&D Beyond character sheet, if you end your subscription, you don't get access to this anymore. All the drops content is forever behind the subscription.
Okay.
Which is one of the main concerns about it.
Which I wouldn't seem to have a problem with. It's more of what that implies. that it implies that, I mean, silly content like this is, not something I'm worried about losing if I cancel my D&D Beyond subscription. But the implication is that future more important content could, like, and that's what they're afraid of. Am I following that?
Yeah, well, it seemed like this announcement, the drops announcement preceded. We now know that Chris Cox was talking about live service D&D, and so this was recently, and people were like, I think this means they're gonna say D&D is a live service, and then like today, that's what they said. So people were Nostradamusing the recent future with this.
Gotcha.
I think that's part of why I came in so hot. I was like, guys, they're okay. They're doing a nice, stupid little cool thing for their subscribers. Like, it's fine. They're not explicitly evil all of the time. Oh no, damn it, they are evil, man. I am disappointed. Yeah, I don't know.
So tell me why does it get you so hot, Ryan? Maybe it's because I don't care about D&D enough anymore. Maybe that's why I'm not bothered by this.
It's because D&D has such gravity. You just said it. Jim just said it in a different way. I am currently experiencing it at 2 different tables. I just started a new campaign that I'm going to wind down pretty quickly. I'm finishing a long campaign, and I'm trying to get 10 different people to be interested in playing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And the player base is addicted to the supposed ease of D&D Beyond. So, because making a character is a big ordeal in D&D, less so in other systems, D&D Beyond makes it easy, but it makes the player bad at running their character. They can't find the stuff. They don't learn the stuff. And it has such gravity that I'm upset that this is getting worse and worse, and I still can't get people to play. We'll get into it. No spoilers. Stay tuned, folks, for Ryan's next pick, and everybody else's current picks. But the changing of the guard that we are just at the beginning of got my hopes up. That, all right, those guys are out, new people are in, they're saying the right things, they've been here for a while, I've seen some of their work before, new cool stuff is coming from D&D, I'm going to want to run one of the big campaigns that come out. I don't know, I'm still waiting. I guess we don't do that anymore. and here we are. It's just they're focusing on the wrong things, and the enshittification of my favorite pastime is happening before my eyes. That's why I'm mad.
Now, this is interesting. I want to speak on this for a second, where it talks about existing subscriber perks, because I have been a subscriber to D&D Beyond for quite a while now. And the reason I became a subscriber to D&D Beyond was when they released the Encounters tool. They released it in beta, and it was for subscribers only. And they said, if you join now, you're going to get access to stuff like this, because we're going to be releasing tools like this all the time. And of course they never updated Encounters, never released any other tools, just for beta subscribers. And the subscriber perks, it's funny, I've been getting those subscriber perks every month, and you know what it usually is? JPEG backgrounds for D&D Beyond characters. They're like, it's new backdrops, and it's just like some JPEGs from modules that already exist. And so that's interesting. So they're essentially ending that because they're doing these weekly drops now.
Who's that for? Like, I understand the initial little dopamine hit. You get an email from D&D, oh, you got free stuff. Now your dice are blue, frosty. And like, you roll it and you're like, that's cool. And then, are people like, I guess if you're using their VTT, you see somebody else's dice come on the screen, you're like, that's cool for like 3 seconds, but I don't know. This does not incentivize me at all.
Mm-hmm.
This actually disincentivizes me. But you give me a thing, it's like, thanks, this is worthless. Who's someone's psyched about this, right? Someone's got to be excited to get that weird transparency behind their stat block. But like, I just don't. I stopped seeing that in 3 seconds. That's not appealing to me.
Yeah.
I've never liked D&D Beyond. I've never liked it, and it's just I see it as like a necessary evil for playing the game now because my players are so dependent on it. And I would much rather spend the time at the front end of a campaign making a character, helping my players make their characters on paper. I would much rather do that. And it's not that hard. Like, I've been playing D&D for over 40 years, and it wasn't until, I don't know, 5 years ago that we got away from paper character sheets because I finally let my players use D&D Beyond. It wasn't that long ago. I mean, maybe it was 6 years ago that we ran a full year-long campaign using paper character sheets.
Totems of a bygone era.
Totems of a bygone era. You dinosaurs, we can't wait for you to die.
Guys, am I old now? Is that what's happening? Is this what it feels like? Okay.
This is what it feels like.
And it was because I had a player who also grew up on AD&D, and so he showed up with his character on paper, and the rest of the players were new except for one, and all the new players made up their characters on paper, and the one who was familiar with D&D Beyond was kind of like peer pressured into making his character on paper because everybody else was on paper, and we ran an entire year-long campaign, and it was fine. We never had any issues.
That's the way it was, and we liked it.
Right.
All right, so I feel like we've complained about drops enough. Yeah, we don't know, but this is how they're transitioning their monthly releases to weekly releases now that are corresponding with seasons, which is an improvement over what it used to be. Instead of just random JPEGs delivered every month, and occasionally once a year they give you a dice set. So moving on, speaking of TTRPGs in general, our friend Bob Worldbuilder has put out a poll that he's running all month long, and this is Brad, what's the name of Bob's poll? Is it just your favorite TTRPG?
I believe so. Bob is collecting data. I screenshot these from the because I'm a, what do you call it? Not Patreon, but on YouTube. I'm a member. Yeah. So I screenshot these from his members only video. But yeah, he's trying to figure out which system to make content for. Bob wants to put out more, publish more adventures and game content. So he's polling his audience to see what their favorite RPG is, so he knows what content to focus on. And so I thought it was very interesting that he got 10,000 votes within 48 hours or something like that. And he's up to 20,000 votes so far. And so this is the first 10,000. And it's got the 2014 version of D&D as the most popular with 1,100 votes.
Yeah, 2014, 1,100, 5.5, 961 Pathfinder, 922 other, 851, and then we have a little further down the list, Drawsteel 482, Daggerheart 457, Nimble 455, Shadowdark 409, DC 20 270, which surprised me because as far as I know, it's not actually out yet.
Mm-hmm.
The updates I'm getting say 0.9 point something. Coach sends a lot of updates. I don't usually read them, but if it's out, I don't think it's 0.9. I don't think it's out yet. Anyway, and then finally at the bottom of the list, Savage Worlds, Call of Cthulhu. Is that GURPS maybe? Universal Role Playing System.
Looks like it.
DCC Blades in the Dark, 3.5 Lancer, Vampire Masquerade, Mothership, OSE, and then I don't know what that is at the bottom.
Fantasy Flight. games. Parenthetical. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
Phil.
Hey, Phil. I don't know what that is at the bottom. Yeah, but so the surprising. So are some of these answers right in?
The other category is write-in. So the 851 votes were write-ins for systems that Bob did not have on his list.
So this 851 does not include any of these that are listed here?
Right.
Huh.
Which is crazy. I mean, that means there's a lot of other games out there that people are playing that, because I mean, that's a pretty extensive list when you know, from Vampire the Masquerade, Call of Cthulhu, Savage World, OSE, all the way up to the, you know, the ones we would expect to see, right?
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. Like 3 things I found interesting about this. One, that Pathfinder had almost 1,000 votes when, I mean, this is largely Bob's audience and the people Bob's audience shared with, right? So, and Bob doesn't talk about Pathfinder. In fact, if the only time I've ever heard Bob talk about Pathfinder was to complain about Pathfinder. So the fact that Pathfinder is right up here, you know, was one of the top 3 with over, you know, 900 votes was an interesting, you know, an interesting takeaway from this. And then what we just talked about, the fact that there were so many write-ins for other RPGs that weren't on this list, given how extensive it is. And the other one was the how few votes Dungeon Crawl Classics got, considering this is Bob's audience and that's Bob's favorite game. And he talks about Dungeon Crawl Classics a lot. And it only got what, like 134 votes?
Yeah. The high Pathfinder number. Do you think they're just a bunch of Pathfinder fans watching Bob videos with their arms crossed going, bonus actions?
I think it's just because Bob's a very likable guy and his videos are good, and the general advice of his videos translates across game system, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why. And of course, Pathfinder fans are pretty outspoken about how much they love their game. So if there's a poll out there, you know, probably going to find it and make their voice heard.
And hey, everybody, this is still open. You don't need us to tell you Bob World Builder exists, but he's a good guy. go vote in his poll. There's also always like a threat of sampling bias going on here. This is Bob's audience, but he is pushing this out to other creators. Other people are hosting this poll to. I'm curious to see how, like, when the data like aggregates, how much it changes, if this is only Bob's results or if he's folding that in still. I'm not surprised that Pathfinder is your number 2 spot. I was most surprised that 2014 is beating out 2024.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, it's kind of close to 50-50. The scale looks a little weird to my eye there. But the idea that more people are still playing the 2014 version, basically a year and a half, almost 2 years into 2024 being the new official mainstay. But there's a lot of games in this poll. I'm surprised Raiden is so big, considering how many games he included. I will also point out, this is asking, what is your favorite TTRPG? Not what is the TTRPG you're playing at your next game night. And those are different things.
Yeah, because I mean, now when Bob introduced the poll, he said the reason I'm doing this is to judge which game to make content for. So like he introduced this poll as, if you want to buy products from me, what product do you want to buy, is how he presented this. But you know, are people taking it like Ryan just said, this is my favorite RPG, right? Not the one I play the most. So
where's 4th edition? This list is a little strange. I'm not surprised that 3.5 is on here, but you'd think 4th edition would probably be more popular than Mothership. I mean, Mothership's a great game, and I know it's been hot for a couple of years now, but I mean, there are 4th edition. Where are all the 4th edition diehards? They maybe haven't seen this poll yet.
They're probably in there down below. I wonder how much like you get a split vote between Draw Steel and 4E. I think, and this is just inference. I haven't like put any study into this, but I think a game like Mothership or like Lancer that's different, right? Like I want to have that kind of experience. I want to play Call of Cthulhu or whatever. A lot of these games are competing with each other as far as the genre goes. If you want some sort of palate cleanser, Mothership is especially good at this because it's built for like a oneer or like a quick campaign. I think that really serves to the strengths. I also, again, point out there's probably a lot of people who like really want to play Mothership and are voting for it to try to get some like push behind it because they've read it and they've loved it and they maybe haven't gotten a chance to play it, or they played it once or twice and want to get their group to play it. But what's your favorite and what are you playing next week are different questions still.
Yeah, exactly. It is interesting to see that Draw Steel, Daggerheart, Nimble, and Shadowdark are all like neck and neck in this poll, right? They're all in the 400 range. I'll be interested to see with the second 10,000 votes. So he's up to 20,000 votes already. So this just captures the initial 10 that came in the first like day or two. So there's been an additional 10,000 votes since this, and then there'll be more between now and the end of the month. So it'll be interesting to see what the final numbers are on all this.
I think probably Bob, if you're watching, that at the end, if 5e comes out ahead of 5.5, you should probably still make 5.5 content, because in just a couple of years, these numbers will be definitely at least reversed.
Yeah, well, and you can if you can use the content interchangeably, right? Like if you're making content for 5.5, but someone's running 5th edition at their table, they would be able to use that module.
The way Bob makes his content, yeah, but somebody like Treant Monk, his content is very edition specific because he shows you numbers, he shows you stats, so the mechanics are important there.
Yeah, Bob typically doesn't make like classes and subclasses. Bob's more about making adventures, so I think his adventures be pretty interchangeable between those top 3 games. Like you could take a 5th edition game and run it for Pathfinder.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that Shadowdark is so low because he is just starting to deliver. I mean, he wrote it for D&D as well, but he's sending out. I just filled out my backer kit info on his Shadowdark adventure that he just kickstarted earlier this year. Mm-hmm. So I would figure like the Bob World Builder audience specifically leaned more Shadowdark. So is this skewed? And as you were saying before, Brad, DCC as well. Like, are those numbers inflated a little bit? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Phil says I'm right.
Endorsed by Phil Kearney. You got it.
Yeah.
So moving on, we will update from Bob's poll at some future date.
Go vote.
Yeah, that's we're interested. I like data. So next we're going to do something that we do sometimes on the show unless we forget about it, and that's called the catch up, where we just say what we got going on and what we're up to. Brad, last to arrive, first to speak. What do you got going on?
Well, like I said earlier, my players voted for us to play 5.5. I gave them a very specific choice. I said, do you want to play 5th edition or do you want to play 5.5? Because they clearly wanted something more crunchy than Shadowdark, and my Nimble books have not arrived yet. So we chose 5.5, and like I said earlier, I've been lamenting D&D Beyond because they're only 3rd level. We're only like 6 sessions in, and there's this mashup of like somebody's using the 5th edition version of a spell and someone's using the 5.5 version of the same spell, and it
really feels like they implemented all that stuff on D&D Beyond with the intention that they would be deleting all the old legacy stuff. You know, it's like it's not a two-state solution. They really implemented it with the idea that it was going to be going away. And that's how designers think, you know. I've worked in software before, and when designers come out with new software, they don't want to make it support old browsers. They're like, how far back in Internet Explorer do we have to go?
Right.
They don't want to support old stuff. They want to do cutting edge stuff. But you know, sales wants it to support every browser because why leave people out? But then the designer like, oh, we have to redesign this shit for Opera. Are you kidding me? That's going to take 6 weeks. Anyway, designers want to deprecate code. They want to get rid of the old stuff, be bleeding edge. Anyway,
And I was pretty forgiving of someone being forced by corporate to roll out something prematurely. Somebody changed their mind halfway through development because the C-suite changed. Someone did a focus group, and now we need 2 editions at once or whatever. It's been a year and a half. It's been a year and a half, and it's still bad. It's still bad, and they keep talking about making it better, and I get excited every time. But now I feel like I don't know. I'm a dog chasing a car. I'm getting tired.
woof woof.
But yeah, this probably is why it's reflected in Bob's poll that we just looked at. But I think my players were happy with 5th edition. I don't think they needed 5.5. In fact, I think they dislike the fact that 5.5 has so few subclasses to choose from, because they're now bolting on 5th edition subclasses onto their 5.5 characters because they want the options. And I think that's also why Pathfinder is so ridiculously popular, because it has so many options. Like, players want all those choices.
Yeah. Ryan, you got anything to catch us up on?
Well, I've been away, but a couple weeks ago we did a 3-hour combat in 5.5, and it did not advance the story at all because I had my bad guy Dimension Door out at the very end, and it was pretty epic. I mean, we're pretty good DM. My players had a lot of fun. Everyone was like, "Whoa, that was a crazy session." And at the end, I was like, nothing actually happened except we were an initiative for 3 hours. This is maybe a game I want to get away from now. It's not level 18, 19, 20. We're at level 9, right? Which is the end game for me. I am not pushing campaigns to level 13, 14, 15. Like, I don't pretend level 20 is real, like some people out there. But oh man, and it's Strahd. It's like some of the best stuff because it knows what the genre is. I roll in the open, so like not only am I going spooky on description, I'm also like, you're gonna die if I roll a 20 right here. Yeah, man, just the thrill is gone, baby. I'm thinking about the shiny new things. On my other table, I'm running the starter set because I'm still considering making a video series. One, because my most successful stuff on the channel has been Phandelver, and a lot of the lower performing stuff is still super valuable to get comments on. People like running the Sunless Citadel or something and telling me like I helped them get started with this hobby. So I think I'm going to do the starter set, but I don't like it that much. It leaves a lot to be desired. So either I'm going to rewrite it and make my own version, or I don't know. So I'm going to keep teasing it. The next shiny new thing, they got me. Get your guesses in now, folks. Ryan's going to start campaigning for a new game.
In my Strahd game that I'm a player in this week, I'll keep this very brief, but my character in the previous session had drawn a card from some mysterious deck from a Vistani woman, and all of my magic items went away. My magic items just evaporated, and that was at the very end of the session. And so at the beginning of the session this week, I said my character's going to walk away from the Vistani camp and go over to the river and just stare at the river for a while. And then the other players were having a scene. And then the DM checked back in with me and was like, "Are you still by the river?" And the other players go, "Jim, how long are you going to edgelord over there?" And I said, just a couple more minutes. Like, I don't want to edgelord for too long, like an appropriate amount of edgelording. And that's going to be the title of my memoir. But my character was distraught, and so I needed to go stare out over the water like Dawson at Dawson's Creek to really communicate the feeling. But an appropriate amount, not I don't want to. We had to move on to the next scene, and I was like, all right, yeah, I can stop edgelording now. That's fine.
If you call it pathos, it's literary. It's cool. You're doing good stuff.
Oh goodness. So not to totally derail our show, but we all am I correct in assuming that we all started our channels because we love this hobby and we love D&D, and then I don't know, I mean, my experience has been after 3 years of running my channel, I feel like this passion project that I had, I've just really become disillusioned with Dungeons and Dragons as a whole. From the OGL debacle to the transition from 5th edition to 5.5, it's really taken a toll on my love for the hobby, which is why I love hanging out with you guys and doing this show, but it's why I stopped making videos outside of Casual Fridays.
We got to chase the ambulance though, Brad. That's where the clicks are. Phil, yeah, it may have been the deck of many things. I'm not sure. The DM was sneaky about it because there were 2 other players drew cards first. The first one had a benefit and a bane. It was like they got some each, and then the second person draw a card and it just got an awesome benefit. And I was like, well, hell yeah, I'll draw a card then. And then just whoop, no more magic items, all gone. And then staring out over the water like Dawson from Dawson's Creek in despair.
The Landmark Warlocks group chat is a minefield for me now because Jim tells me stories about his campaign, and I'm like, oh wait, don't say anything. But that wasn't no Taroka deck he pulled out.
Yeah, this is my 3rd or 4th attempt to play Curse of Strahd, and I've owned the book. It's right over there. I've owned it for 2018. I've owned it for almost a decade, and I've never cracked the spine because I always wanted to play it. And I'm finally deep enough into a campaign that I can actually feel like I'm playing it. But so moving on, now that we're all caught up. Oh, also I got a video coming out Sunday. That's one thing I was going to say. I haven't put out a video in a while, and this one is my finest work, 100%, no doubt. You'll see it on Sunday. It's not really about D&D, but you'll see. So earlier this week, Mr. Ben Milton from the Questing Beasts put out a video about initiative. And Brad suggested that we could talk about initiative because one thing after this, we're going to talk a little bit about Stonetop. But Quinn's Quest did a review of Stonetop this week, and when he was interviewing the Stonetop developer, he asked him about running combat, and the Stonetop developer said something we've heard before, but hey, Agile Monk. Something that not a brand new sentiment, but he said, you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you're rolling dice and you're exploring and you're doing this and you're making checks for that. And then when combat happens, you're playing a different game. And then you play this different game and then you stop playing that and you go back to the first game. And he said, part of why Stonetop is based on Powered by the Apocalypse is because there's less of a divide between regular non-combat moves and combat moves. And it made me think of the Matt Colville story he told about where he had his players in a prison and he wanted them to figure out how to get out, and his players were asking him to describe the prison, and he was like, oh, it's this many feet and has this many cells. And he was like, you know what, let me just draw it on a map for you. And he said drawing it on a map was the biggest drawing it on a map led to a TPK. Mm-hmm. Because once he drew a map, the players thought about it strategically. They thought about initiative, they thought about distances, and they said, this is a problem we can solve tactically. But he'd wanted them to solve it, through role play and checks. And so I don't know exactly how I got over to there, but maybe I can do this. Let me tell you a lot of the video, Ben's video a lot of it was based on D&D is the standard, but everyone is trying to fix D&D initiative. And why is that? Mm-hmm. And I personally think that D&D initiative is one of the best systems. The way I do it, the way I try to speed it up is that if I'm at a physical table and we go into combat. This is kind of silly, but this actually really helps me, is that if I'm at a physical table, I draw a little picture of the table. I draw a rectangle or circle. When people shout out their numbers, I just write their number in the position they are sitting at the table in relation to me. And then I can very quickly translate that into a regular list. Because the standard way is kind of like the way Matt Mercer does it. 21 to 25, 15 to 20, 10 to 15. And I think a lot of people think that's too slow. So maybe that's a good point to start the discussion. Thoughts?
Well, what initiatives, like, systems have you guys done? Like, so Jim, you just told us yours. You're using the traditional D&D initiative system, and you have your little cheat that you just shared with us. But have you guys run other initiative systems? Like, have you used Popcorn Initiative or Full Side Initiative, and what were your experiences with those things?
Ryan, you want to go?
I really like Side. I think, I mean, I don't get credit for it because it's poker, but like Ryan's hack is like roll initiative, who's going first, like big number wins, cool. We go around the table from there. It's fast. Rolling dice is happening. We're having fun, and it's not a long ass process. I like side-based initiative a lot. Like old school Essentials, Dolmenwood was the one I ran for the longest. I still feel like players set their baseline as 5e, so like declaring spells felt like a trap to them more than I don't know, a fiction forward way of thinking. Like, you start casting a spell, but you hope someone doesn't punch you in the face before you finish saying your magic words. That makes sense to me. On the player side, they never seem to enjoy it as much, even though it is more tactical. I think one of my favorites, which I did not appreciate reading, but loved once we experienced it, was Daggerheart. I think Daggerheart's solution to initiative is very good because it's popcorn with consequences. I think a lot of people are afraid of popcorn because either someone's going to hog the spotlight, or someone's going to get left in the dust, or someone's going to try to gamify it to their advantage somehow. But the idea that, like, I'm going to go, and in going, depending on the results of my action, the buddy next to me might be going, or the monster might be going. There's consequence here. There's some risk involved in me stepping up. So, like, there's the tension of, like, yeah, I want to get in there and, like, do stuff because I got all these buttons to push. But also, if it doesn't work out, then, like, oh, that's on me. Like, there were a couple times where it was like, oh, sorry, guys, I took my turn. It didn't go well. My bad. All right. Sorry.
Well, let me speak to what's good and bad about Daggerheart Initiative. What's good about it is that it's fast. You know, you can go from, hey, I'm going to punch you in the face, buddy, to we're now fighting, and I'm looking at my cards for my abilities. You can go just like that. Whereas in D&D, that's virtually impossible. There's at least a couple minutes between, hey, we're going to fight, and we're fighting. So Daggerheart's much more immediate, and it also it really helps keep you in the moment because nobody knows what's going to happen next. Nope, not the game master, not the players, you know, not even nobody knows what's going to happen next. That keeps it constantly fun because you never know if you're going to get your shot's coming up next, and that it's way more fun for the game master that way. You know, because when I'm running 5e and I know my baddie's coming up in 3 people, I'm starting to plan. I can't do that in Daggerheart. So it keeps me fresh. Makes combat way more fun for me because I don't know what I'm going to do until it's my turn. For the baddies, which is more realistic anyway, right? You know, that set initiative allows you to metagame it in many, many ways, and we all know that. But so what's bad about Daggerheart Initiative is that there's no numbering system, but you still have to track things at intervals. Because what you can't do in what's harder to do in Daggerheart is to have a second wave of enemies. A third wave of enemies, to have something that happens. So what Daggerheart does is it gives you a series of triggers. Now you'll say every third time an NPC misses an attack, this thing triggers, or after 8 successful attacks, the second wave of enemies triggers. So you use countdowns. And so in terms of like headspace, it's not any easier to manage, in my opinion, because you're not just tracking the combat, you're tracking these potential things that could happen and things that will happen once certain criteria have been met. And from that respect, the D20 initiative, that the D&D system is great, because if you're running especially higher level stuff where you've got lair actions, where you've got a second and third wave of enemies, where you have maybe a group of enemies that attack, like you've got a big group. One thing I've done is I have a large group of enemies. I don't have them all go on initiative 10. I have half of them go on initiative 10, half on initiative 5. Stuff like that. That initiative system, even though it's metagamey and very rote and looking at that list can feel unfun. It's really good for keeping shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan. What were you gonna say about that?
No, well, Jim, that was very insightful. I think like Blades in the Dark coming out with clocks felt so innovative, even though it's a pie chart, but it's like built into initiative, right? Like I don't need to be keeping a clock when I'm in initiative order because like top of the round something happens. Initiative count 1, something happens. Like it's maybe the best part of initiative is that it is a built-in timer. And like duration procs off of it, and like, all right, in 3 rounds, this is gonna happen. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't DM'd or haven't game mastered Daggerheart, so. But now that you point that out, Jim, like that makes sense from the DM's perspective. I was talking from a player's perspective. I just really liked Daggerheart's initiative system. But if we're talking about fixing D&D. When it comes to initiative, I like having the fast round, slow round. I think Ben called it before and after initiative.
Mm-hmm.
So especially with the 5.5 monster design, they have a static initiative in the stat block. So like the static initiative is 10 plus their dex modifier, right? So I take that and I might add a bonus if they have like a leader, so like the goblins have a 12 initiative. Well, there's a bugbear leader, so I'm going to bump that up to a 13. So now that's the target number. If you take out the bugbear, that's going to drop the initiative because we roll every round. Because what I like about the before and after, the fast slow round, basically what we got is you roll. If you beat the monster, you're on the fast round. Then the monsters go in the middle, and then the people on the slow round who didn't roll high enough go last. And in that way, it's kind of like side initiative because anybody who is on fast round can go in whatever order, right? And then anybody who's on slow round can go in whatever order. And what I like about that is they don't have to call out their number, right? I tell them the set number if you're 13 or higher. So they don't have to call out the number. I don't have to track that. They just know if they're on fast or slow. So I say, so we all roll, fast round, go. It really speeds up the process, and it doesn't really break anything in the 5e design. So because initiative is kind of its own thing, right? And what keeps it exciting for us is being able, since it doesn't take that long, to just know if you're on fast or slow, we roll initiative every round. And that makes the combat more interesting because, the combat could be going very poorly. Like the other night, I was rolling really hot and got like 3 criticals in one combat. But then there was a turn where all the players landed on the fast round and they quickly made up progress against the monster because they all got to go before the monster that round. And they were able to save the combat. And that was just a side effect of the dice falling the way they did. But I found it to be the best fix for D&D initiative. But I do like Daggerheart and Draw Steel's initiative systems. If I was to design my own game, I would probably design it around, some variation on the the popcorn initiative with the monster interrupting the way Draw Steel and Daggerheart work.
Yeah, I like that. I might try that because that does keep it variable. Because like the opposite of the metagaming, I have 3 rounds to figure out what my monster is going to do. Is on the player side, like, well, I know I'm not doing anything for 25 minutes, so I'm going to check out. So knowing that your initiative turn is a moving target keeps you engaged. Also, I'm not writing down the initiative on me, the DM side, because I have this thing that's been happening, and I finally figured out it's because my players make characters with the same freaking names, but I combine players and people get skipped. And I am the sole point of failure in the announcing the initiative thing. And I like keep spreading out that responsibility. And if I skip your turn, you're probably going to tell me about it. But it's happened a bunch of times, and mostly to my brother-in-law, and I apologize. But now it's become a bit. So if I don't have to, if it's changing every time, I'm not keeping track of it. It's like who won, who beat the DC for initiative. You guys go. I do the monster. Whoever's left, figure it out amongst yourselves. Get back to me.
Any other thoughts on initiative here before we move on to the fun topic at the end?
Hey, everybody. If you try to punch the guy in the face, initiative happens. It's like reaction time. Stop trying to get one in before initiative, because that's not how any of this works. All right? You want to do something violent, you want to start casting a spell to the guy you're having a conversation with, he has the opportunity to punch you in the nose before you finish casting that spell. Hey, I'm going to punch this guy. Roll initiative. Cool. Should we roll initiative? Like, oh, but I said it before you said the other thing. No, stop.
One thing I will say with when we're talking about initiative that I do like design-wise, which is something you probably could do as a fix to D&D if you're playing like 5e or up, right? So Shadow of the Demon Lord had their initiative system where you get your 2 actions. If you only take 1 action, you're on the fast round. If you take 2 actions, you're on the slow round, right? Which is a pretty good initiative system. But then like players are like almost always choosing to go last or go in the slow round because they want the 2 actions, right? Shadow of the Weird Wizard fixes that by you sacrificed your reaction in order to go on the fast round. So you still get your 2 actions, so you can move and attack or attack, right? But in order to go on the fast round, you sacrifice your reaction. So that would be like, you use your reaction to get a jump on the bad guy. But then your reaction's used up, so now you're not going to get an opportunity attack, or there's other things that you can do with your reaction. So I thought that was an interesting way. So you're just choosing whether you're going to go before the monster or after, based on whether you spend your reaction to do it.
Yeah, Pathfinder does that too. Like you have action points, and you can spend them on actions or reactions. So you can be doing things during other people's turns, which keeps you engaged and makes your round slower. Like theoretically, you could do reactions all day and get to your turn and not have any actions to take. You can also drop an initiative order. So I can't go faster, but I can tactically decide that, no, I'm going to drop in the initiative order because I want you to go first because you're going to apply some sort of debuff or buff me or whatever. And that's interesting because I am also engaged in what the initiative order is in the first place. It's not just like, oh, I hope I go early so I can stop paying attention or whatever the case may be. I hope I go last because I'm the cleric and I want to get a heal off when everybody's hurt. Pathfinder does solve some of these issues elegantly.
And DC 20 also steals that 4 action. Yep, just like Phil just said. Yeah, DC 20 does something very similar, which I like that. I like that idea of being like, I am a counterspell mage, and I don't really do anything on my turn. I wait for other people to do things, and then I react. That's kind of fun.
You thought 3 actions were a good idea. How about 4?
4. Well, I'm going to make a game that has 5, and then everyone will want to play that. Okay, so moving on. Earlier this week, or maybe last week, I don't know, Quinn's Quest put out a review of a newer TTRPG called Stone Top, which is a very hefty 2-tome book. And I'm not going to recap the entire review. I know Ryan has actually purchased it. Ryan can tell us a little bit more about things in the game, but there is one thing in the game that I want to talk about specifically because I think the concepts from it you should very much steal and apply to most other games. And that is, and in the video, Quinn's really teases how it's his favorite part, and he talks about magic items, and he teases it for quite a while, and then when we finally get to it, we see why he loves their magic items so much. Because basically in Stone Top, magic items are also quests. Basically, most every magic item has a quest associated to unlock its abilities. And so this is all indicated in, say, here is an item you would find. Magic items are called Arcana. You can find a ragged fur cloak, the hide of some unknown beast. Its bristles are stiff. When you don the cloak, you can tolerate the bitterest cold and see in darkest shadow, but bright light hurts your eyes and the warmth of a campfire is too much to bear. To unlock its secrets, you must wear it continuously for 7 days and 7 nights. Stalk a warm-blooded beast on a moonless night, smearing its blood on the fur. Suffer or inflict a grievous wound while wearing the fur, drenching it in your own blood. And if you do all that, then you unlock what it actually is, the Darkwalker Cloak, which allows you to cut yourself and to bleed on it to generate charges. Then you can use that to avoid damage. This is a pretty cool description. When you suffer a blow or physical injury, it loses 1 charge and you transform into a cloud of shadow. You suffer no harm and can flit and fly about for a few seconds before reforming. Everything you touch while in the shadow form is laced with hoarfrost. And that's pretty cool. There were several other examples of this. I'm not going to wait. I think I got one more here that I liked a lot. But I think that no matter what game you're playing, if the game has rewards, tying quests to rewards is a smart thing to do. Let's open this.
That was a feature in was it Matt Mercer's game, or the Vestiges of Divergence? Wasn't that what they were called?
Oh yes,
the magic items that like leveled up.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a cool design.
Yeah, the magic item that you would receive early in the campaign and then would unlock greater and greater abilities. Another one here is the silvery glass bottle, 10 inches tall, made of warped glass that's shot through with silvery streaks. Makes your eyes water and your head spin. To unlock it, you must either find someone who knows it's working and get them to teach it to you, or fill the bottle with spring water and hallucinogenic mushrooms and let it steep in the dark for a fortnight. Hell yeah, brother.
I picked that one.
Drink the contents and risk learning nothing as you suffer through the sickness and the nightmares. But then, if you do all that, trip your balls off on 2-week-old mushroom wine, you get the witch bottle, where you tie strands of someone's hair around an item that they made or owned, set them afire, and drop them in the still-burning empty bottle. You get something called sway, which allows you to influence them, twist their senses, making them perceive something untrue, plague them with nightmares until they wash in rain or snow, cause an emotion in their heart to swell, possibly overwhelming them. Woof. And some of them are actually tricksy. Like you unlock the thing and find out that you get a bane. I spotted a couple of those that are deceitful, but so I'm just advising you at home. It's a really simple concept. There's not a whole lot to it, but just the idea of tying a series of objectives to a magic item will make your players want to do that.
And I love the cost benefit. Not even just like, it's a trap, it's tricksy. It is in fact the One Ring. I'll point out that these are minor arcana, and there are major ones akin to the One Ring, but This is story content. This is game content built into a little magic item. Like players are going to want to get this thing, and it's not just like, oh, now I got +1 to my Constitution, or I do attacks better. It's like, no, I gotta figure out how to get a piece of this dude's hair so I can change his mind. Like, woo, that's a session, baby. Like that's juicy. There's a lot in there.
Yeah, I think I think if when I ever design my own game, it's like this is the kind of stuff I want to put in, not just with magic items, but also with monsters. Like I want, like if it's something bigger than say like a goblin or a kobold, I want there to be like, Witcher style. Like I have to research this monster. I have to find out its weaknesses, right? Like, that's the kind of stuff that helps actually build story and create role play, right? When it's not just, oh, there's a dire wolf in the woods, we need to go fight it. No, there's this hideous beast and no one knows what it is. And you go into the woods and you have to discover what it is and how to defeat it. That's the kind of content, I would like to design, because it's a far more interesting than like, oh, we all know trolls are vulnerable to fire, blah, 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 blah.
Brad, have you read oh crap, what's that Powered by the Apocalypse?
It's given Monster of the Week.
Monster of the Week. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Have you read Monster of the Week?
I've run it. I love Monster of the Week. Absolutely.
Because that's kind of a central tenet of Monster of the Week is that you can't defeat the monster until you learn their weakness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Monster of the Week. I've been tempted to tweak Monster of the Week for a fantasy setting. Mm-hmm. That's really how I want to run a D&D game. I want to run it more like Monster of the Week. Because that to me is more akin to like the old fairy tales and the whimsy of like classic fantasy.
Yeah, I think if you ran a poll of like what's the best designed monster, not what's your favorite monster, but like what's the best designed monster in the 5e basic monster manual, I think a lot of people would say troll because of that, because it has a very specific set of circumstances and it's incredible until you know it. And then the next time you see it, it's like, oh, how long do I pretend I don't know the answer to this puzzle, right?
Right.
But the idea that there is not, like they did that with the Archhag now, to a degree, if you get up there. Mm-hmm. But like, there's not that much more like it. They have all these immunities and resistances and damage types that seem so underutilized.
Yeah, well, and like the Hydra is another one, right? There's a very few monsters in the monster manuals that have the have like important weaknesses that you can discover and that sort of thing. I would love to see more of that kind of design. And it may be like you can't put that stuff in a monster manual because once the players learn it, then they learn it, right? But you could definitely put that kind of content in adventures. Like, with each adventure you write, you have at least one new monster that, who needs to be figured out, right? That would be really clever design to put in to D&D modules.
Indeed. I had this one group of players. Thanks, Agile Monk. I had this one group of players. They were all new, bless their hearts, and they wanted to research every monster. And they're like, what do we know about kobolds? What can we learn about kobolds? And I ran out of things to tell them, like secrets for how to defeat the kobolds. And eventually NPCs were like, the secret is if you stab them first before they can stab you, then that's the way. And, they eventually got the hint like, okay, not every monster has a like a secret thing that we need to activate. If you stab them more than they stab you, that's the best way to take the enemies down.
My grandpappy told me they were dog people. It turns out they're little dragon dudes.
I think we are about out of time here. But you know what? Hey, you at home, we want to thank you for watching and listening to the Landlocked Warlocks do our weekly show called Casual Friday. I feel like we've been pretty casual. We started off hot. We got angry on purpose, but I think we cashed out after a while.
It's not that. More disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
We're not mad, Watsy. We're just disappointed. We expected, we had high expectations for you, and we feel like you're not living up to your potential. All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching and listening, everyone. We love you. Be safe out there. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
And hitting the button now. It's only a matter of time.